As you recall in the past couple of training videos, before we print our worksheets off, we went to the print preview because what you see in there is what's going to come out of your printer. So for example, come up here, click on the File tab, go down to Print. You can see over here in the print preview window, I can tell what column I'm looking at because I've got the titles up at the top for first name, last name, and so on. But when I go to page 2, I don't get those titles repeated up at the top. So I can't tell if this is the first name column, the last name. I can do a little bit more analysis here. But names like George Michael, I don't know. So in any case, to go ahead and have those rows or those titles, which is in that row, repeated up at the top of every page that I print off, we need to go to the page setup. And you may think, well, the page setup is down here. Let's go ahead and click on it. Well, you could. And it brings up the Sheet tab where you can select the rows to repeat at the top. I say could, but you can't because it's shaded. You can't do that in the backstage. It just displays what you've chosen in the front stage. So where is it in the front stage view? Let's click Cancel, click back. It's on the Page Layout tab. In the Page Setup group, and there it is, Print Titles. Click on it. And there it is, the Sheet tab and rows to repeat at the top. Go ahead and click on its collapsible dialog box buttons so we can collapse the window so we can see where we're going here. Well, if it's still in the way, you can click on the title bar to move the window out. And notice that when I move my mouse around, you see a black arrow pointing to the right. When you click on it, it selects the entire row. Now if you want to select more than one row, then go ahead and click and drag, and these 3 rows will be repeated up at the top of every single page. So it'll include the pay row, a blank row, and then the titles. Let's just do the titles, so let me go ahead and click on that row. Hit Enter to pop open the window here, and then click on Print Preview and go to page 2. Hey, there we go. Now I know which is the first name, last name, and the titles for all the other columns. Alright, let's go ahead and close out of here and save that. And let's go to the next example here, which is printing the title columns. In other words, I want to show you how you can go ahead and have, well, the first column, second column, or the first 3 columns printed on every page. Before I do that, you need to know that when you do it this way, you can't have any cells that are merged. If this cell is merged at all with either 1 or 2 cells or any cells, and you go ahead and you choose these columns that includes that merge, it's going to freak out and say, you got to unmerge it, okay, because this isn't going to work for me. So in any case, let's look at this example. We looked at this example in an earlier training video under page orientation, where when we went backstage, File, to Print, how the last 2 columns were cut off because the columns were so wide it couldn't fit all the columns on the first page. And it was rate and gross. So we had to go to page 3 to find rate and gross. And then on page 4, well, we're missing the titles for these columns as well. So we could hit 2 birds with 1 stone and say, let's just go ahead and repeat the titles up at the top. But also, let me go back to the 3rd page. If we want, and not do page orientation, because let's say that we have a lot of columns, but we want to identify whose pay rate this is and the gross amount, then as you recall, back on page 1, we've got, well, the names of the people that are getting paid. So I can go ahead and take these 2 columns and have them repeated so it goes down to page 3. So I'll have the first last name next to the rate and gross so I can identify who's getting paid exactly how much. So let's go ahead and go back. Go to the Page Layout tab, and then Page Setup group, Print Titles, and there we go. The rows to repeat at the top, again, let's click on that to collapse it, and let's do row 4, and then expand it, and then columns to repeat at the left. Let's go ahead and collapse that, and it's going to be first and last. Again, you can see how it selects the entire column, so make sure within those marching ants we don't have any cells either above or below anywhere in these 2 columns that are merged. Otherwise it's going to freak out. So hit the Enter key to pop it back open, do a print preview, and let's go to page 3. There we go. So we have the columns repeating, the first name, last name on page 3, so we know, what their rate is and how much they're getting. And then for the last page, we also get the rate and gross for those columns because we said to go ahead and repeat the titles for these columns here, as well as the 2 columns that we wanted to identify, again, who's getting paid what. And we can click on the Page Setup link, go to the Sheet tab, To be able to see what rows we have selected, again, you can't modify it here in the back stage. You have to go to the front stage and be able to click on the Print Titles button to open up the window here and have access to the data there to make changes, even deleting them if you don't want them repeated. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel, get notified of the latest videos, and for only $2 a month, you can have access to all my Microsoft Office training videos.